It's gonna be a little short movie compared to the last one because we'll be starting the next topic in the next movie. Right now, I just want to cover up the things that I have left here because of the time. Time constraint is always a big guy out there. Okay, so far we can see that whatever we are typing out is actually being printed out here, but if you will design a command line application or you will design a simple iOS app, your data simply by storing it actually doesn't print out the data. So you do have to do a couple of things before you get out. For example, I just want to print the repeat me. So how can I print it? Now printing is really simple. You just use the keyword print and then you write the name of the variable. For example, I just say repeat me and there we go. It just works out there, and let me wait for a couple of seconds because it's running out there. It sometimes is out there, but do notice one thing, that the print automatically comes with the /n. /n means simply a new line. So basically what it is doing, it's printing out your output as well as giving you a new line out there. Okay, that's good. But what happens if I don't just want to print out my constants and my variable just like that? I want to add a message out there. Do I have to use another line? No, you don't have to, because there is a good option out here, and this is actually the simpler one. Let me put all of these so you can use your double quotes. Let's get rid of that for a moment, and you can use that the value that we will use is, and just like that, and thereafter you can use the repeat me, but there is a good syntax that we have to use. Now if you look out any documentation or book of the Swift, they do give heavy names to this method. Some call it as string interpolations and all of that, but that's not what we are here. It's a really simple thing. What you have to do, and in fact all you have to do is, first of all, let me get rid of this double quote and put it out there, because right now repeat me is not a variable because it's inside the double quotes. It's just a string, and if you want to replace it by some value, let me put a backslash here, and after the backslash you just wrap the value inside a pair of parentheses, and there we go. Now the value is the Swift will look up the value out there in the code and try to find out. Let's say, for example, you want to print out the number of lines. Let me just copy and paste it out here, and there we go. The value is now changed to 3. So this is how you do it. Now string interpolation is just a name given to this technique by using the slash and a pair of parentheses. And let me remind you that string interpolation is nothing new. It has been used for quite a lot of time in the mathematics, but let's not go into that. I know probably you might be hating your maths class from your university or maybe your school life, so let's not talk about that. Now one thing that we have already talked about is the comment. So we can see 2 slashes gives you the comment. So you might be saying, why I would use the comments if the code is not running? Why would I write a code? Now sometimes in programming you want to comment out things like, I'm using this logic, I'm using this data structure technique to hold my data. In that particular case, writing the comment is good, but let me be very honest with you. Most of the time when I do use the comment is for the testing purpose. For example, this piece of code is making a problem, so what I'll do, I'll just go a couple of lines of back and I will try to comment out this code and see whether this line is having problem or the next line is having a problem, and just like that I try to just comment out a bunch or a chunk of the code so that I can test another chunk of the code. But do matter one thing, that if you'll submit your code with such practice and you will have a lot of comment out section which is actually a code which is being commented out, chances are high that Apple is going to reject your app. So make sure that when the final version is about to release, you do a cleanup in your code and try to get rid of all those nasty comments which are actually the code. If you'll put something like, I'm using this logic or something, that is okay, that's perfectly fine. So this is the one method of writing the comments, but yes, there do exist another method as well, which I don't use much, but still it does exist. So that's the /* method, and it also ends with a asterisk and slash. So inside this, you can write multi-line comments. Okay, so there we go. And I need to work out on the spellings. Okay, there we go. So this is a method of writing the multi-lines of comment, but I rarely use it, honestly. And especially in the Xcode, you don't need to actually use it. For example, I want to comment out these 3 lines. I just simply press my command and the slash key, and it comments all of these with that method. If I want to uncomment this, again, same command and slash, and it uncomments. So I use this quite a lot, but again, it's a matter of preference. If you want to use another thing, then completely fine. Okay. One more thing, that if you're coming from any other programming language, you might be accustomed to putting a colon out there to end the comment and the line of the code out there. Now, if you'll put a comment or simply a semicolon, not the comment, if you'll put a semicolon in the Swift, it's completely okay. But according to the Swift original documentation guidelines, you should not be putting them. And again, obviously, if it isn't required, why should I be putting it out there on the first place? So yes, you can put your semicolons, your favorite semicolons, but they are not required. So why to use them actually? Okay. So these are the few things that I thought I'll be pointing out before I jump into the more detail of the language. This was just a quick overview. We do have a lot of topics like closures, the ARCs, the optional chainings, the error handling and all of that, but this is just again a very quick introduction of the basics of that. Now we'll be moving on to the more detailed part from the next movie.